Hey everyone, so this is a book review, as you can tell by the title. So I'm just going to talk about the Radleys, which I read by Matt Haig. Looks like this. This, I think I mentioned before, this is kind of like, if you really like Twilight or paranormal, vampire type books, this is kind of a more adult version instead of young adult. This was really good. Kind of took me a while to get into it, and then once I did, I really liked the story. It moved pretty fast, kept you kind of wanting to know what happened. I really like the way it was written as well. It basically is a couple days in this family's life, so I think it starts on a Friday. I'm not sure if it runs till Monday or, yeah, Monday, and then it talks about a few nights later, so it's a very brief time that it focuses on. It's very short chapters, and they're all titled, so if you start on Friday, the first chapter, it does these little things called the Abstainer's Handbook, which is for vampires, like how to refrain from having human blood. And then each one is titled 17 Orchard Lane, and they're usually about a page. Sometimes maybe at the most like 4 or 5 pages, but almost all of them are short little snippets. The characters in this I really liked. It had the teenagers, and it focused on their story and kind of like the normal drama that goes on with teenagers, like falling in love and getting bullied and trying to fit in and find your place and coming of age, a bildungsroman. And then the adult characters were really neat too. So it had the parents and their kind of sordid past, and it hints at a lot of things that you don't learn till later, which is nice because it keeps you kind of guessing. So this basically centers on the father and mother and their 2 teenage children. Their children don't know that they're vampires, so they've kept it from them, and they make sure that they have a lot of meat in their diet. Their daughter's going vegetarian, and so she's having a lot of issues because she's not getting meat, but she doesn't know that she needs it. She's just feeling sick all the time. The son has a love interest at school. And so that kind of develops, I'm trying to think, not in parallel, but his parents are having similar problems where there's kind of some desires fueled by them being vampires that they're fighting with. So there's that kind of a internal conflict and external conflict in the novel. But yeah, it was just a really fun read. There were some twists and turns that I wasn't quite expecting, and I don't know, I've heard other people review books and they say, oh, it was so predictable, and maybe you could say this about this, but for me at least, I wasn't predicting what happened. But it was neat how they had the element of just kind of the all-American family and what they are dealing with that's totally normal and relative to everybody else, and then the other issues that they had because they were vampires. But it deals a lot with, you know, kind of the sanctity of marriage and tempting, you know, being tempted to stray from marriage and whatnot. And then, like I said, it had also the children in it, so that gave you kind of the young adult and the teenagers, the conflict between the parents and the teenagers. So everybody had their own thing going on, and it all kind of came together. It also deals a little bit with people in the community and gives you some backstory. But I liked that it waited until the end of the novel to really get into the juicy stuff, or at least halfway through. So that was really neat. And I'm not going to ruin it for you with what ends up happening, but it's funny how everything kind of fits together and clicks together in the end. So I highly recommend it. I think it's a fun read. The style of the writing isn't very, it's fairly straightforward. It has a lot of humor in it, which I liked. Kind of makes fun of itself a little bit. But it's definitely not a difficult read, and it doesn't really have anything that's kind of like a classic piece of literature, but it's still fun. The other book that I tried reading, this is another one I did not finish, The Reluctant Fundamentalist by Mohsin Hamid. I just couldn't get into this book. I got about 60 pages in, and the character was just really dry to me. It's in second person a lot of the time, which is the most annoying point of view that could possibly exist. First person is kind of annoying. I prefer third person novels, but this was first person and second person. And so this guy is telling his story to someone you don't know who, and he keeps saying, oh, did you need something? Or do you want me to continue? Or you seem a little bothered by this. And it just kept saying you over and over. And it just kind of grates on you because you feel like the author, you know, the character is addressing you specifically, and I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me. Maybe for some people that's really fascinating. But basically, the story is about this young gentleman who is in America at one of the Ivy League schools at Princeton, and he gets hired by a firm, but they never really go into that, at least in the amount that I read, about what he was going to be doing at the firm or what that entailed. It mostly focuses on him just kind of talking a lot to this other person in the story that you don't know who, and not really giving you a whole lot of information. He talks a little bit about a love interest that he has, about the fact that he is not as privileged as some of the kids who are at Princeton. He's getting financial aid, and a lot of people don't know that, and it's supposed to be some big secret, and it's embarrassing. But basically, yeah, as I was reading this, I was like, who is this character and what is this about? Like, I didn't get a feel of what the novel was about. It was more philosophical, I think. It was leading into, I don't know. One of the reviews said that it's supposed to be a thriller, and I'm like, I wasn't engaged in it at all. I wasn't like motivated to read. I was mostly just bored. I wanted to know more about the character. I wanted more character development. I wanted more action in the story, and instead you just got this long drawn out conversation about nothing. And I know Seinfeld's supposed to be about nothing, but at least it has some meat to it. This felt like the book about nothing. So I don't know. I couldn't get into it, and I obviously can't do a very good description of it because I didn't really enjoy it. There wasn't really much to describe. So I do not recommend that one. But the Radleys gets a thumbs up. So hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know. If you decide to check one of these out, let me know. And as always, I like hearing what you're reading. I'm going to go drop these off at the library and pick up a few more books in addition to what I'm reading now. So I will probably do an In My Mailbox tomorrow. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.